Welcome back, everybody, to the Kolbstrong Power Podcast. And for the first time ever, this episode is being recorded, going onto our YouTube channel. And for the first time ever, I also have beautiful wife, Katie, with me. She's joining me here today to help me interview our young athlete of the day. Is actually a young competitor named Stacey Hartwig. She's 23, and she's here to talk to us about life and the sport and lifting in general. So thank you for being with her, Stacey.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I want to get to know you a little bit better, just kind of where you're from, where do you train, who do you train with, that kind of thing.
So I'm from about 5 minutes away from Toledo, Ohio, in Oregon.
Okay.
So yeah, we're pretty close. The gym that I actually train at is called the Animal House, and that's in Toledo. I started off from, knowing Mario Rizzo. He's the owner of the gym. So I know him, I work with him. And so he's like, hey, come by and start training. I'm like, all right. So it took me a while to actually get up the guts to go somewhere new and train, because I've never power lifted before. And so to go in a gym full of a bunch of big guys was a little intimidating at first.
Sure.
But yes, once I got in there, the rest is history.
So how long have you been lifting?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably about 3 years.
Oh, cool.
2.5, 3 years. Yeah, it hasn't been very long, but yeah, I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else.
Yeah.
Well, from the videos I've seen, you've got a pretty damn good start, I think.
Well, hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
that's
for real.
the plan.
So that's 3 years you've been lifting weights, period, or 3 years that you've been powerlifting?
Powerlifting. I did a little bit before. I was more into cardio when I kind of first started getting into the gym, period. And so I would, do a little bit of bench and stuff like that and squats, but obviously my form was awful. And I didn't realize that until I got to the gym and, actually learned how to lift.
I think we've all been. I was there myself. I got started at a local YMCA
Okay.
up in northeastern Ohio, area called Dover.
Okay.
So not too far, a few hours for you guys.
Yeah. Not in the immediate area.
Yeah.
But why don't you go ahead?
So do you have a coach? Or is the guy that you're working with, is he your coach, or are you just kind of just lifting with him?
He's not really he doesn't like to be called a coach per se. He just likes helping out. For a while I didn't have anyone helping me. I kind of just went in there, did what I wanted to do, did what I felt like doing. And I kind of enjoyed it that way, because in that aspect, if I had a long day, I don't have a single on the list of things to do. So, I'm not trying to force myself to do something that I'm not feeling. But since Tyler Butcher has been kind of helping me out, he kind of made up a training schedule for me to follow. And it's actually been working out all right for me. And it's nice to kind of go in there and actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because before I would just kind of wander around like, all right, what do I do next? And so now it's a little bit better. I can actually have an idea of what I'm doing before I go into the gym. So I can kind of mentally, prepare myself for a day of suck, or, a day of, too many reps I'm not a huge fan of. So
anything more than a single or doubles I consider to be cardio.
Yeah.
It's 100% cardio.
Yeah.
I'll get done, have to sit down for a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean my rest period is 5 to 10 minutes between sets, and that's with doubles and singles. So really, I'm on the
Sometimes
same.
more depending on who's working in.
Yeah, true. But,
Hey, I'm fine with that. Give myself a little time to breathe.
Yeah.
and she does, everybody. She's a training partner with Tyler Butcher, one of the most legendary squatters out there. Third man in history, I believe, to squat 1,100 pounds single ply.
Yes.
Which is a pretty small club of people.
Not many people.
Not many people. Big, strong, full power guy. Got a big total. Big single ply lifter. Member of Anderson Powerlifting as well.
Anderson teammates here.
What we got next?
So I just have another question about your lifting programming. So is it like a programming? Do you guys follow conjugate or anything like that? Or is it just a basic on Mondays you're benching and on Thursdays you're squatting kind of thing?
Yeah. So Mondays are our squat days. Tuesdays are normally arm accessories. It's kind of an accessory bench day for us. Thursdays, we have Wednesdays off, and then Thursdays we'll go in and deadlift. Not really my favorite day, but you got to do it. And then, and then Fridays are our bench days. So it kind of works out pretty well. My work schedule is kind of weird. So some days I got to alter that a little bit, or go in on a Saturday, or go in on a Wednesday or something and get it in, or double up one day just so I get all my major lifts in for the week.
Yeah. Cool.
That's nice. That was my kind of follow-up questions. If you do lifting on the weekends at all, or is it?
I used to more than I do now. I used to lift Saturday mornings. Normally people are going in and doing accessories, or, the other people who, didn't make it in, during the week, they'll come in on a Saturday and do their lifts or whatever. So some days I'll go in there. If I'm bored, I'll go in there. But for the most part, I sleep in on Saturdays if I can.
Oh, I see. I do most of my work on the weekends.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Or Sunday.
So my
Weekends are like the bulk of his work.
my
hey.
weekend days are actually Mondays and Fridays. I have Mondays and Fridays off.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
So,
Get in there on the weekend.
yeah, I love that's where I do all my heavy stuff is on the weekends generally.
Yeah, it always depends on, when you've got people in the gym and everything to kind of help out and
Also,
make sure you don't hurt yourself.
Correct.
When the crew is there. So do you lift equipped, raw? I mean, I guess everybody.
Classic raw, basically. So I just use knee wraps and that's it. I mean, I use wrist wraps, but I'm not single ply. I'm not sure if I'll ever do a single ply meet. If I do, it's going to be later on when I'm, older and, hurt more.
Oh, come on.
No offense. Yeah, I don't know. I have tried like with a shirt like a long time ago. It's a lot different than raw. A lot different.
Extremely, yes.
Yeah, extremely different.
The pain level is what.
Yeah.
I've seen you had a supercharged ram on though at one of your more recent videos.
Yes, I like to use the rams and the slingshots for even if I do reps or like a single one night, I'll hop in one of those and go heavier just to feel the heavier weight. It's definitely mental for me. So feeling the heavier weight, I know when I go down to whatever weight I'm doing for the meet, I can do it because it's not super heavy in my hands like a couple plates are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all mental for me.
I feel like it's mental for most people. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the next question I kind of have for you is, I guess we'll do two sets of goals. Your long term, let's say over the next decade, I consider that to be a long term. And then your short term goals, what you want to accomplish, say the next 6 months to a year.
All right. So my short term goals, I haven't officially gotten 400-pound squat in a meet. I definitely psych myself out because I know that that's what I want. I've done it twice in 2 different meets, and both times weren't up to par. So I squat more than 400, but when I get in the meet, it's like my brain just forgets how to squat. So I want to get that. That's like my main thing, especially this year. I will be a 400-pound, like officially a 400-pound squatter. I want 1,000-pound total. So it'd be about 4, 4, and 2. So that's kind of my short-term goal. I'm like tantalizingly close to a 400-pound deadlift, but deadlifts suck. So not quite there yet, but I definitely will get there. My bench is definitely where it kind of lacks. Definitely not. I definitely don't have the upper body strength as some people do. So it takes you a little bit longer. But my long-term goals, I guess I never really thought about long-term goals. I want a 500-pound deadlift and squat. I mean, I don't see that coming anytime soon. I don't think it's going to take me a decade. If it does, that'd be kind of sad, but I don't think it's going to take me that long. But that's mainly what I want. I want to be benching 2 plates.
That's cool. Yeah.
I want to have a respectable bench.
I've seen a lot of your videos scrolling through your Instagram. I don't think you're that far off from 400 in the deadlift, and even as bold as it might sound, 500 in the squat. I mean, I've seen you squat 400 plus. I think 420 was the heaviest one that I saw.
Yeah. Yep.
And it looks really good. I don't think you're really that far off. Bench, I mean, hey, I'm an open book. If you ever want to talk bench on a personal basis through Instagram or whatever, I mean, hey,
Yeah.
I'm always here. But and Tyler knows how to bench. I mean, he can teach you how to bench.
He's all right.
He's
Yeah,
all right.
he's definitely helped me out a lot with my training. But I just squatted 420 yesterday, and it was pretty easy. I mean, it was heavy. It wasn't, squatting the bar or anything, but it went up pretty easy. So I know, I've got more in the tank for that one.
Yeah, and so you kind of get the meat nerves, I suppose. We'll say it that way. That sounds kind of redundant, but how many meets have you done so far?
4, and then 1 or 2 mock meets with our gym.
So you're just getting started in the competitive side.
Yeah. I did one maybe 2018. We've been generally trying to do about 2 or 3 a year.
Okay.
So, or no, not 2018. What year are we in? 2022? Maybe 2019?
Yeah, 2020. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
What is your next? Do you have one like on the books that you're looking forward to this year?
So we were supposed to do a meet in February on the 12th. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to be doing that one. So if we don't, we're going to be doing one in June. I think that one's in Eaton. We did that meet last year. It was a pretty good meet.
That's Ohio? Eaton?
Yes,
right?
Eaton, Ohio. It's like right there by Indiana. I think it's like right there on the line.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So on the west side of Ohio. I almost said Columbus.
Yeah.
West side of Ohio. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Something, I don't know. I just drive. I don't know exactly where I'm going, but
I feel you.
it's somewhere that way.
Well, yeah, if you're those nerves never. I mean, I've been competing for almost 14 years. I can't tell you how many meets I've done, but those nerves will subside after a while. You learn to calm yourself down. You'll be fine. If you got 4 meets deep, official like competitive meets, it will.
It is for years though.
Yeah. I got to be honest with you. They're definitely they're not fun yet. I mean, I love training for a meet, and I love the feeling after the meet, accomplishing something, but during the meets are just not fun. There's a lot riding on them, a lot of work that went into it.
It will shift. It will go the opposite way, because the meets are, training for me right now sucks. Oh, I put myself through utter hell. I crawl through these fucking workouts, but the competitions are generally easier because my volume and the training is up to here. When the meets are easy, I only do like half the work I would do as compared to a training session. So you will have that.
You only got to do it once.
That's exactly. Mm-hmm. I can do one bench and leave if I want to, but I generally sometimes I only get one lift out of the 3, but I still attempt.
At least you have that option.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
so of all those meets that you've done so far, like what's been your favorite? Like your best meet memory, maybe?
Well, the last meet that I did was in Indianapolis, was probably my favorite. We were all supposed to do it as a gym. I don't just normally go out and do a meet by myself. I'm generally inexperienced still when it comes to, meets and everything. So I like to be there with the rest of the gym.
Yeah.
It's way better. And so we were all planning on doing this meet. Well, like everyone either got hurt or couldn't do it, or, there's some excuse or the other why no one else was doing the meet. I'm sitting there at work, and I get a call from Tyler, and he's like, "Hey, so none of us are doing the meet." I'm like, "Oh, so I guess I'm not doing it either." And he was like, "Well, we still, I still got the time off work." And one of the other guys that trains there, Josh Spurgeon, he's maybe a year older than me, super strong, and he was like, "Yeah, we were already planning on going." So Tyler and his wife, and then Josh and his girlfriend Kaya, they went with me and my mom, and we all went down. And they obviously weren't lifting, but they took time out of their weekend to come watch me, and went in the hot tub at the hotel and the pool and everything, and went and ate way too many carbs and felt fantastic. Slap happy.
Meet weekends is all the food that he gets to have. It's
the best. It's one of the things I look forward to. It's like, just eating something crazy after a meet,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's probably one of my favorites that we did. Not the drive. I'm not a huge fan of driving for a super long time. Yeah. But other than that, it was a really good weekend.
That's
So
awesome.
I enjoyed it.
My limit for driving for me competing is about 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
We're in Virginia right now. We drove first 7 hours home to Ohio, and then 3 hours south to go to Cincinnati
Jesus.
to help out some friends at the north of the border meet that Laura Phelps hosted.
Okay.
I'll be damned if I would compete after driving all that distance.
Yeah.
Like a couple of days ahead of time.
Even
You
such,
could, like,
I don't know.
relax.
Yeah, but I feel you on the travel part. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah. I can't just drive the day of a meet and then do the meet. I'm not waking up that early to drive a couple hours somewhere, and there's no way.
We used to do that a lot.
Yeah,
when
we
we
would
were
get up at like 3 a.m., drive all the way to Columbus,
compete.
go to like an XPC meet where it was in some guy's garage and it was raining outside, compete, drive 3.5 hours home.
I can't believe I used to do that.
Well, we were a lot younger then.
Dude, I am younger. I'm not doing that.
We didn't need as much sleep.
I was 20, so I wasn't like 23. I was 24. I was like 19, 20 years old. I wasn't
younger than 30.
Yeah, but yeah,
I don't sleep before a meet anyways. So like, I then have to go through and drive that whole way. Like, there's no way I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah, I have to get it. I have to be at least 2 days. I have to get there. If the meet's on Saturday, we're driving there on Thursday.
Oh yeah.
Spend the night, whole day Friday, just relaxing, watching the meet, go eat, sleep, eat, whatever. Yeah. And then I wake up the next morning.
So like his okay.
Okay.
Do this for me, but he's like, I need to make sure that I know the exact route to the hotel and an alternate route because you never know.
That's normal.
Yeah. Unless we
do that.
Event venue.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing.
Exactly.
So what do you think is the most important thing you've learned so far in the last couple of years of powerlifting?
I think the most important thing that I've learned, you're gonna fail. You're gonna mess up. A couple weeks ago, even I was supposed to do a heavy single on my bench, and I pretty sure I just like forgot how to bench. Just randomly, like I kept like flaring out my elbows and everything. I'm like, this is frustrating because I know how to do it, and just knowing like when just things don't work out, you got to keep standing up and keep going, keep doing it again, keep trying again, putting in the work, because at the end of the day, it's going to show that you put in the work for it. Yeah. Failing at my 400-pound squat sucks because I know I can do it, but it just kind of fuels me with my training to keep going and keep getting stronger to eventually where, that what would have been my, second attempt is now going to be my opener, and I'm going to, break, or I'm going to, already get a PR just on my opener because I've been, practicing and working this hard at it. So, learning that when you fail, you don't quit. You kind of have to keep going if you want to, make a name for yourself in this sport.
Sure.
Yeah. And one thing that I'm constantly telling him, or that we talk about a lot, is that no one is going to know how many times you fail to lift.
Oh yeah.
And they're not going to,
like,
no one says like, oh, well, Jimmy Kolb failed 1,000 pounds 6 times in a row for an entire year. No one thinks about that. They're just like, oh, he benched 1,000 pounds. Nobody knows how many times Tyler missed that 1,100-pound squat. They just know he got that squat.
He got it.
Failure makes you stronger, and no one's gonna know.
No one's gonna know. And like, that's the thing is, you don't realize that when you're sitting there watching someone else lift, and like, they complete the lift, it's, heavy lift, and then all of a sudden they're super excited about it because they finally got it after so long, after working so hard at trying to, doing all these accessories and putting in the work and going in when, you'd rather be sitting at home or sleeping or something, and going in and getting the work put in. And then next thing you know, you show it on the platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
One of the only true things my dad ever taught me when he was still in my life was that sometimes it's good. He was speaking when I was in wrestling, so losing and winning, but sometimes it's good to lose because you learn what not to do next time. So
exactly.
It's kind of relevant. I mean, I don't want to lose all the time or fail all the time, but I'm still, after almost 18 years of lifting and 14 years competing, still learning. And I feel like if you're not learning, no matter how old you are, you're not doing something right. So
Yeah.
always
You know,
going to be learning.
if you know everything, then you need to be done.
Correct.
Yeah, it would be
There's
so
there's
boring.
always something more to know.
Yeah.
So I guess I should have asked this more at the beginning. We keep talking about how I don't like to use the word fail. I like to say miss. I
Mhm.
think you say you've missed 400 pounds several times at these meets. What are your best competition lifts in all three right now?
So right now I'm at 380 for my squat. My bench is 170, I want to say, and then my deadlift is 375.
And I can't do math in my head. What's that? What's your best total with that? With
915. I want to say 915.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you're not
I'm
too
getting
far
pretty
from that
close to.
1,000. Yeah.
What's that?
You're not too far from your 1,000.
No, it's pretty close. And I think if I at the next meet kind of go up a little bit and do a 420 pound squat, I can kind of be a little more relaxed with the other two. If at least then at least I know I've got an extra 20 pounds to kind of play around with the rest of the meet.
Yeah.
So
a big one out of the way.
Yeah, like I said, the way your squats
Exactly.
look, there's no question you can do it. It's just a matter of getting that head straight. I mean, it's a skill. It's something you have to learn.
Yeah. The last meet they said that I wasn't deep enough, and so it looked just like my 380. So I'm like, God, this is frustrating, but I'll do it again and I'll make sure I sink it or something.
Yeah.
Miss lifts is part of the sport. I mean,
Oh yeah.
He was disappointed, when they're hit. Some of his biggest failed benches was like, oh well, we didn't know if you were locked out. Well, he was holding it for 5 seconds. Like, you can't hold 1,100 pounds for much longer.
actually, I had a meet. The first time I arguably successfully benched 1,000 was back in 2019.
Was it?
Yeah. It was, yeah.
Was that the whole year failing?
Yeah, but that summer of 2019, I was at
That was rough.
1 year, 5 meets, 12 months of 100% fail. Not a single
Bomb
lift.
out every time.
Every lift. Well,
That's all right.
But
You got it. No one would know. Who didn't know.
Exactly.
I did get a 1,000-pound bench, 1,000 flat, and the head judge said, rack it. I get up off the bench and I got 2 reds. I'm like, shit. Well, repeat the lift. I walked off the platform, but I later found out that the 2 side guys thought the judge said, take it, not because there's a bunch of noise and screaming and music.
Oh.
So had I said, what's the problem here? They said, oh, we thought he said, take it. Hey, head judge, say rack it or take it. They would have maybe overturned the lift. I would have benched 1,000 pounds about 8 months sooner than I did. But
that's frustrating.
It's, it's just, like I said,
it's
just
one of those things. But we also learned that day that don't step off the platform if you have questions, because once you step off that platform,
next lifter.
Doesn't matter. Like, that was a valuable lesson that we learned that day. So that was cool.
Always learning something, right?
Yeah.
At least you can do it.
Correct.
That's true. Yeah. So in this couple years that you've been lifting, who do you look up to in the sport? Who are some of your favorite people maybe to follow online that you get a lot of your knowledge from?
So I follow Jen Thompson. She's fantastic bencher. Not to sound sexist or anything, but for being a girl, she's a great bencher. So I like to watch her and some of her techniques that she uses. Bending your pinkies out. It just little things that she does to get a pretty good bench. Jenny Gennaro, I think is how you say it. She's she just had twins. So she hasn't been lifting a little bit. She is sponsored by Girls Who Powerlift. So she's 100 pounds and she's deadlifting 370 pounds. It's just wild to me. She's got a fantastic deadlift.
That's awesome. I'm gonna check them out because we don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't keep up with people.
Right.
So we don't follow a lot of people. And
right.
Then when someone's like, "Oh, did you see so and so?" I'm like, "I have no clue who that is." But I'm gonna go follow them now. So we're trying to get better about knowing more people outside of just his very small bench only equipped guys?
Yeah, I don't like follow a whole bunch of like I follow like, you know, powerlifting sites and everything, but a lot of them are like shouting out these certain people.
Yeah.
So like to follow like the person itself, I don't do a whole lot of. I guess I don't really, you know, think about it. If I did that,
Yeah.
I think I'd be hitting follow like every day because,
Every
you
day,
know,
yeah.
there's a lot of good lifters out there. Um, Amanda Lawrence, she's a good one. She's pretty strong. Um, yeah, basically the guys at the gym, you know, I don't want to sound cheesy, but you know, I like, you know, going in there and watching them
Yeah.
do their lifts, you know, seeing them and, you know, seeing like, oh, you know, I don't know how much weight's on the bar right now because I can't count that high, but hey, you know what, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty heavy. Like, good job.
I don't think that's cheesy at all. I think my favorite powerlifters are the people that we lift with every day. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
because you get to see them progress, and you like Jim has been doing this for so long.
Uh-huh.
And one of our youngest crew members, well, maybe not youngest, he is, right? Oh, it's pretty young. He's a junior. He's like 22. Taught Jim something this week with his straps, and he was like,
Oh,
"Hey,
yeah?
Dad, you're using those wrong." And Jim's like, "Oh, am I?" And he was like, "Yes, they are." And, like it changed his whole like pool setup. Everything was so good, and so you could learn from literally everyone. And
Oh, yeah.
they're just some of our
Yeah, you
favorite
know,
people.
watching and seeing where, you know, someone started out or like when I first got to the gym and seeing where they were. And, you know, we've got one guy he's from West Virginia, but he moved up here. And he was like afraid to do, you know, 315 on his bench. You know, you know, he would do all the change. He had like 2 plates and all the change on there, but just would not put the 3rd plate on. And so now he's like just constantly repping that out now. Like it's no big deal anymore. So it was cool to see him before not being able to get that lift. And then all of a sudden, you know, now he's just doing it for reps.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. It is so great.
What's the biggest obstacle you've had to overcome, whether that be just in training, competing, obviously this life in the sport? What's the biggest obstacle you've come to?
Definitely the mental aspect of it. You know, when you see a lot of weight on the bar, you know, like I have to tell myself I've done this before. I know I can do this one. It's, you know, not that big of a deal. If I'm in training, you know, I can mess this up. It's okay. I'll do it again. You know, I'll keep trying at it. And I think just getting the mental aspect down and like the mental endurance when I'm doing, you know, threes and, you know, if I'm deadlifting and I'm doing something heavy for threes suck. I don't like them. It's heavy and you got it. Like I'm, you know, on my first one, I'm like, this sucks. And I got to do it 2 more times.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of mentally saying, all right, you got to keep going. You can't quit. You know, the 3rd one might be kind of a grinder, but you know, you got to keep doing it. It's going up regardless if you feel it or not. You know, sometimes I'll be like, man, that sucked. That moves super slow. And I'll look back at the video and I'll be like, it looks smooth. You know, it looked a lot smoother than I thought in my head. You know, that's kind of the perk to me, at least, about having videos taken. Just that way I can actually see how easy it looked, you know, kind of in my head of like, all right, that looked, yeah. Right. Like it looked easy. It's going to go up again. You know, next time I do this weight, it's going to go up again. It was easy. I could put more weight on the bar, you know, so I think just mentally being able to get over that hump of, you know, I don't know if I can, it's heavy. Well, you know, lift it anyways, you know.
Right. That mentality, you'll become mentally tougher as you go along. It's something you have to. I don't know. And maybe some people are just born with it. I certainly wasn't born with it. I had to be taught. I had to learn how to be mentally tough. And
Right.
Confidence is big.
Yeah.
Confidence is one of the things I talk about most with people, or when I go live on Instagram or whatever. I always talk about confidence. That'll come with time. So I think you got, like I said at the beginning, you've got a fantastic start.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see what the next few years bring to you.
Oh yeah, me either. Big numbers.
Exactly. We got next.
Oh, let's see. This is the same question I asked earlier. So let's skip that one. What is something that powerlifting has done for you that you didn't expect? Like everyone expects, like they're gonna get a little bit stronger, you know. But like, is there anything that stood out?
I would just say the, you know, friendships that I've made throughout this. I didn't expect to like powerlifting. I never wanted to compete. You know, when I went into the gym, I was never in the mindset like, oh, I'm going to compete. I'm going to, you know, do a bunch of big lifts on the platform. I didn't think about that. I really didn't want to. And Mario was like, hey, you know, you should try one. Just see if you like it. If you don't like it, don't do them anymore. But he was like, I promise you're going to be hooked. Like, yeah, right. Okay. And so I did one meet and ended up being, I loved it. Like just the camaraderie, the, closeness, everyone's cheering each other on. And like, I get like a lot of sports are kind of like that, but this is different. You're not competing against anyone else but yourself. And so learning all of that and, the friendships that I've made over time, I never expected to have any of that. I never expected to love the sport as much as I do. So, the stronger part, like you said, I knew that was going to happen, but the rest of it on top of that, was just kind of a big bonus, cherry on top.
Yeah.
That I didn't think was going to happen from this.
That's fantastic. I love that answer. That's great.
If you could ask any powerlifter for advice, they could be living, they could be dead, who would it be? And what would you ask them?
Oh, that's a good question.
Deep.
It's a big question. It's my favorite one.
It's a big question. Yeah. I don't know a lot of like the older, like dead power lifters and like those types of things.
Okay.
I never really,
They didn't have Instagram back then.
Yeah. Tyler was always like, oh yeah, this is a good documentary to watch. This is a good documentary to watch. I'm like, yeah, okay. And it never ended up happening. Yeah, I think I would probably ask more of a current power lifter, probably, full power, someone, probably a female, someone like me, just kind of how they do it, the balance between, work and training and, what you're eating. I don't have the most fantastic diet in the entire world. They're 99% of the time I'll go in there with a beer because I swear it is the best pre-workout. But I'll go in there and just try to lift. But I think being able to kind of dial in on my diet and my training and to learn from other people, learn and ask. I don't know if there's any specific person I would ask specific advice from, but I think the best, like well-rounded advice that I could get is from asking, multiple people how they do things, how they train, how they lift, what certain things do they do, or what certain things are they thinking about when they're, squatting or deadlifting or benching, and to kind of form my own opinion and form my own way of saying, hey, this is how I'm going to do it based on all these people saying this thing. This is how I'm going to try this out and see if it works.
Cool.
Perfect.
You sound like a little sponge, like you're just ready to like.
I like to learn.
From anyone who will give you information.
Yeah.
me and my buddy Fabi from Ohio, we call those who are easily coachable sponges. They're a sponge. They absorb the information and they also apply it. So
right.
Yeah, it's just a FYE, FYI. I don't know.
FYE.
Anyway, that was also old. Okay, so our last question on here. If you could add, change, or delete any powerlifting rule at a meet, what would it be?
I completely understand why they do it. It makes 100% sense. Like I know it keeps everything fair, but I don't like the press command and bench. I want it gone.
Yeah.
I get like, keep it fair, but like there's such like a, human factor in that, if you're sitting there at the bottom waiting for them to say something, well, I've already been down, I could be back up with it. And that, that's a full bench going down and coming back up. Mm-hmm. And if I could do any or change anything, it would be get rid of that and just bench it. Yeah, I don't really like hanging out down here because it feels like you're there for like a minute. You're just hanging out.
It depends on the judge too, And I feel like they give longer press commands with raw lifting.
Yeah. There was a girl, I think it was at the last meet that I was at. She was saying that she was benching, and whatever meet that she was at prior to that, she said that when she was benching, she was down, she was waiting for a press command, and they weren't giving it to her because the plates were still rolling on the bar. The bar wasn't completely stopped. It was like the most wild thing to me. Like, who does that?
Oh, I would. That'd piss me off. Are you serious?
Oh yeah. That's not fair. That's not a control.
That is crap. I've
Wonder
never
what federation that was.
Oh, I could only imagine.
Well, I have not a clue.
Sounds like something the USAPL or the USPA.
Oh yeah.
That's what it sounds like. So
I was thinking the same thing.
Before we move on, but what What feds do you compete with or have competed with?
I've competed with USPA, and then we just recently moved over to APF. So basically, it's whatever the gym's doing is kind of what I'm doing too. Yeah. So right now I've been lifting in the APF. I like it. I'll probably stay there for a while.
It's one of the oldest feds, one of the best feds.
Yeah, obviously in Ohio.
Ohio, it's big. It's huge.
Is that who you compete with?
I used to when I was in Ohio. That was one of my most
Okay.
primary feds that I lifted with because my gym owner, the first powerlifting gym I ever went to was called Blackstone's Gym.
Okay.
That's in a little area called West Lafayette, Ohio.
Okay.
Very
No one's ever heard
emphasis on the little part of Ohio. Little spit on the map there. The gym owner, John Blackstone, is actually the APF chairman for Ohio.
Okay.
So he hosted a lot of meets, about 3 or 4 annual meets a year.
Yeah.
And then
we weren't far from Columbus where they had XPC and WABDL meets and
when we were still
stuff.
when we were young and we were still in Northeast Ohio, in my wallet at one point I would have like 8 to 10 different membership cards. As long as the meet was an hour away, within 2
3 hours.
I would go and I didn't care what fed it was. I'd sign up, get a membership, go compete. So, but that's changed a little bit in the last 10 years.
Yeah, Virginia literally only has like USPA. That's it.
And that's it.
The state is ruled by those 2 feds. That's why I don't compete in this state. I have to travel outside the state.
Texas, Florida,
oh yeah,
Pennsylvania, Jersey, New York. Yeah,
So
a lot more travel.
That's crazy.
Hey, you can make it a vacation.
We normally we make a trip out of it if it's going to be that far. Go and see all the local stuff and everything. Yeah. I don't have any more direct questions yet. I might think of a few in a few minutes, but
okay.
So if you have anything for me, I want you to ask me some questions. If you have any, that is.
How far have you traveled for a meet?
Oh boy.
California.
The furthest I traveled was California. We were in I don't remember the area. It was so long ago. I was there for a week.
What was that harbor that you had the shirt?
I don't remember.
So long ago.
Went to California for one of Scott Mendelson's APF meets back in 2010, maybe? Yeah, 2010, I think. And we flew out there. Me and my grandpa flew out there. We were just boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. And got out there and we were going to go weigh in and everything. We were staying with my great aunt and uncle. And we drove to where Scott's gym was supposed to be. Show up and it's completely boarded up, empty, no lights. We're like, this is a ghost town. We come to find out through email, not through call or anything.
The meet was already supposed to be started.
Scott canceled the meet. So we flew out there, and then while we were out there, Scott canceled it. That was at the time where the USPA was first beginning. So Scott said, screw the APF. I want to move into the USPA with my good friend, Steve Dennison. So this was supposed to be his last APF meet ever. But instead of hosting it, he just canceled it. And I was like, shit. So we ended up finding a meet that same weekend, but an additional 3 hours away, which is actually a USPA meet.
Okay.
I bombed out. That sucked.
Yeah. What a week.
What a week.
I was sucky. And my friend Tracy actually flew out there to help me as well, and I bombed out, so I felt really bad. But I've also gone to Las Vegas for the WABDL Worlds. Texas.
And Florida.
Florida.
Oh, you didn't compete in Florida.
No, I didn't go.
We just went.
I've competed in Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, all over Pennsylvania, Ohio.
Yeah, pretty much coast to coast.
Jersey.
No. From Jersey to California.
Yeah. So that's the furthest was Ohio to California. That was a pretty long trip.
Oh.
That'd be pretty cool though to be able to kind of travel like that. I'd be interested in doing something like that. Obviously by plane and not driving that far, but
yeah, it was cool. I've got a pretty stacked beginning of this year right now. We got Florida again, Texas, York twice, New York State. I think Syracuse is what it's called.
In September.
September. Yeah, I've got a very, very, very stacked. Then we're going to Cincinnati beginning of April. I'm not competing at the pro-am. It's a female only meet, but yeah,
Fit right in, bud.
it's
How
gonna
would
be
they know?
very, very, very busy. Very busy first half of the year at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you ever gonna do a full power meet?
Yes, I have before.
Oh, you have? Okay.
A lot of people don't know that, but yeah, I've got
You still have to do your total, don't you?
I've got the highest 220 junior total. Still to this day, according to Open Powerlifting. So when I was 20 years old at 220, I totaled 2410 with a 900 squat, an 810 bench, and a 700-pound deadlift. So that was almost 12 years ago I did that. So yeah, I've got plans set in motion right now. Kind of made it public, well, quietly public a little while ago. That at the end of this year or beginning of the next, I want to debut and get into a single ply full power.
Okay.
Kind of what I'm looking to do. So right now I've gotten back into squatting, just raw right now. I just pulled my first successful,
Really good looking.
actual, like form wise, actual correct deadlift in my entire career.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I actually pulled an actual deadlift. Not, I still look like a refrigerator bending over to pick up a barbell, but I'm built to bench, which means I'm genetically shitty at deadlift. You know.
Yeah, I hear that happens.
Well, I always tell people that when Andy Bolton from England was squatting 12 plus and deadlifting 1,000 in a full meet, he was benching in the 600s.
I feel like you can't be fantastic at all three lifts, especially when it comes to bench and bench and deadlift. It's just
that's correct.
body mechanics are a lot different there.
Yep. I'm gonna have to build that total off of my first two lifts and then just pull whatever I can, because I know for a fact, I'm okay with this, that I can't deadlift.
So you're getting better at it. You learned a lot this weekend.
Well, it's only day one.
I know.
And plus, if you think about it, yeah, you'll work towards it. You'll get a better one, and you have a better bench anyways. So
Yeah.
There you go. See?
So yeah,
Who needs
I'm gonna keep training for full power in the future, but in the meantime, still compete just in the bench. That's what I really care about anyway. So
okay.
got a good plan right now.
Are you ever going to go back to single or raw lifting?
Nope.
Or do any kind of? Okay.
Probably not.
I have. That's one of the most common questions I get online is, "What about raw? Does raw interest you?" I'm like, "How many? No, not at all." No, I have my niche. Niche? How do you say
I
it?
think it's niche.
Niche? I don't know.
Niche.
Niche?
I don't know.
We're just gonna roll with it.
Well, it is equipped bench.
Okay.
And I finally had become the greatest equipped bencher back in June. I know Tiny surpassed me by a few pounds there a couple months ago, but so that's truly what I'm best at.
Okay.
I've delved into raw a little bit. I got my 405 bench for 20 reps not too long ago, which is something I've been trying. I tried that, like, I swear to God, like a dozen and a half times before I finally got it. But we don't talk about that. We talk about
Yeah, exactly.
so no, it just doesn't interest me. I just don't. I don't enjoy it. I mean, each side of the sport, it has an extreme side. You got to be full equipped. You got full raw or classic raw and just raw. But in each one, I respect both equally because they both have their own unique set of challenges.
Right.
I just find equipped more fun, more challenging.
A little bit safer.
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
Yeah, I can see that too.
If you're trying to be the absolute best raw bencher ever, I mean, you got to handle the most weight, ever done.
Exactly.
And you're playing with fire. I do, because if I rip something here or wherever, even just in training, if I do something that I don't even compete in, I'm benching raw and I hurt myself. Now I can't compete at all.
Mhm.
Not even in equipment. So
Yeah.
the risk factor is too high because I want to do this sport. This is kind of the analogy I use. I want to do this sport for decades not just years.
Mm.
And I attribute my never getting injured in the sport, well, minorly, but not even very minorly, but I've never had a true injury because I've been in equipment almost my entire career.
Okay. Yeah,
No,
that's
well,
kind of why I was in knee wraps.
Mhm.
I like, you know, I feel like I get more protection through my knee wraps, like when I'm squatting than I do with knee sleeves.
right.
I don't think I'll never use knee sleeves for a meet.
No. And the other thing too that I tell people a lot is, they're like, well, why don't you go raw? Why don't you do raw? And I'm like, for what? To please others? I'm doing what I want to do, how I want to do it for
Right.
me. So if you never want to squat in sleeves, that's great because that's what you want to do. So I'm not going to come out here to bench raw or try to bench raw or competitively or whatever because others want me to. Like if I ever
Right.
do it, it's because that's what I want to do. I'm going to get out of this sport what I want. That's it. So, yeah. Anyway, do you have anything else you want to talk or ask?
I don't think so.
Cool.
Good place to wrap it up,
Yeah,
I think.
cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. You kind of answered things answered my questions as you were talking. So it kind of, worked out.
I'm glad. I do that sometimes.
Yeah, it happened.
So, everybody, again, Stacey Hartwig. She's from the northern part of Ohio, actively competing. She's getting close to her 400-pound squat. She wants to bench 200 pounds to get to those 400-pound deadlifts down the road, which I don't think that road's going to be too far down the road. Getting into the 500-pound squats, which is pretty prestigious, and 500-pound deadlifts and things like that. So I want to thank you very much from both of us for being here with us today. We really enjoyed talking to you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. Reach out to either one of us if you ever need anything or want to talk.
Okay.
And again, thank you very much for being here with us today.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.